I'm on jw.org and I'm looking at the New World Translation and Matthew 17, and starting in verse 14, it says, "When they came toward the crowd, a man approached him, knelt down to him, and said, 'Lord, have mercy on my son, because he is an epileptic and is ill. He falls often into the fire and often into the water. I brought him to your disciples, but they could not cure him.' In reply, Jesus said, 'O faithless and twisted generation, how long must I continue with you? How long must I put up with you? Bring him here to me.' Then Jesus rebuked the demon, and it came out of him, and the boy was cured from that hour. Then the disciples came to Jesus privately and said, 'Why could we not expel it?' He said to them, 'Because of your little faith. For truly I say to you, if you have faith the size of a mustard grain, you will say to this mountain, "Move from here to there," and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you.'" And then we have a missing verse. What did Jesus say that was very important, but is missing from the New World Translation? In the King James, it says, Jesus said, "Howbeit this kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting." The disciples could not expel the demon because they were not praying and fasting. Do Jehovah's Witnesses fast? No, they do not. And comparing parallel account in Mark, the Gospel of Mark, we'll go there in jw.org. Mark 9, verse 14, it says, "When they came to the other disciples, they noticed a large crowd around them, and there were scribes arguing with them. But as soon as all the crowd caught sight of him, they were astonished, and they ran up to him to greet him. So he asked them, 'What are you arguing about with them?' And one of the crowd answered him, 'Teacher, I brought my son to you because he has a speechless spirit. Wherever it seizes him, it throws him to the ground, and he foams at the mouth and grinds his teeth and loses his strength. I asked your disciples to expel it, but they were not able to do so.' In response, he said to them, 'O faithless generation, how long must I continue with you? How long must I put up with you? Bring him to me.' So they brought the boy to him, but at the sight of him, the spirit at once threw the child into convulsions. After falling on the ground, he kept rolling about, foaming at the mouth. Then Jesus asked the father, 'How long has this been happening to him?' He said, 'From childhood on. And often it would throw him into the fire and also into the water to destroy him. But if you can do anything, have pity on us and help us.' Jesus said to him, that expression, 'If you can,' why, all things are possible for the one who has faith." Immediately the child's father cried out and said, "I have faith. Help me out where I need faith." Jesus, now noticing that a crowd was rushing toward them, rebuked the unclean spirit, saying to it, "You speechless and deaf spirit, I order you, get out of him, and do not enter into him again." After crying out and going through many convulsions, it came out, and the child seemed to be dead, so that most of the people were saying, "He is dead." But Jesus took him by the hand and raised him up, and he stood up. So after he entered into a house, his disciples asked him privately, "Why could we not expel it?" He said to them, "This kind can come out only by prayer." So what does the King James say? "And he said unto them, This kind can come forth by nothing but by prayer and fasting." So they left out fasting again. Jehovah's Witnesses do not fast. And Jehovah's Witnesses have a lot of problems with demons in their organization.